Well, hi. It's Ricky Geggy, and now I'm putting on my scarf, so coming into the role of Grandpa Ricky, trying to be useful as an old man. So what I want this video to talk about is a game that I invented kind of by accident. My wife and I decided that we just needed to have a staycation, and we didn't do anything. We did nothing and rested afterwards for a long time. We'd stay in bed for 12 hours a day and just do nothing. Just like lie there, stare at the ceiling, go to sleep. It was called resting, and it felt great. And so I got up and I thought, and somebody came in the middle of one night, and we went and we were with the person and everything, and they were pretty dissociated. And what's dissociation is when you're not present. You're in the past, you're in the future, you're kind of like jangled. And then I thought, God, how do I dissociate? And what's the value in dissociating? And so I invented the dissociation game, and I would start off when I was on my holiday, and I'd say, well, how am I feeling? And I'd figure out how I was feeling, and how does my body feel? Oh, well, yeah. And then I would say, how am I going to dissociate today? And then I would decide, and then I'd say, how long do I want to dissociate for? And then I would write that down, and I'd say, and what am I going to do after the alarm goes off? And so I would make a plan, like I'm going to get present, I'm going to go for a walk outside, I'm going to look around, and maybe I'm going to make some notes, maybe I'm going to make this video. And so then I started doing it. So one night I drank some champagne. And I just watched myself drink it, and I was like, wow. And I just was noticing and enjoying dissociating. And then, the alarm went off, and I didn't have any more wine. And then, I said, gee, how do I feel? Do I feel different afterwards, before? And that one, it kind of lasted a long time. So another night, I said, okay, it's time for Netflix therapy. And so I picked up a couple of Netflix movies, and I watched the movies as the thing that was dissociating. And I noticed how I felt beforehand and how I felt after, and how it was like taking a little mini holiday. It was taking a mini holiday, and I felt great. And so then, and sometimes I would beat myself up, from dissociating. And so then I thought, well, okay, let's dissociate for like 3 hours. And so I binged on Netflix and noticed how I felt afterwards. And then I went to sleep, and I said to my unconscious, what's going on with dissociation? And it was like, oh, it's an escape from how you're feeling. And so it's taking a rest. And it also lets my unconscious, I call them my higher parts, the spiritual parts of me, the superego parts of me, the parts of me that want me to be a good guy, and the parts of me that are unconscious, feral, angry, snarly, bad guy. Like I could call them bad guys, but really we'll talk about that later. And it allowed them to talk. And so what happened was, I was there saying, well, I kind of talked to my parts, you see. I talked to the unconscious parts and said, well, what'd you learn? What did I learn? And then suddenly it became clear. And a relationship which has been really cloudy for 27 years, it's been a very difficult relationship. I saw, this is where we're going with this. And it was a wonderfully liberating experience. And my wife even said, gee whiz, you're standing taller. And I felt lighter because I'd come to this resolution by having a dissociation period. you know, couldn't have got there without the rest. And so it's been 5 minutes, and thank you for listening. And I hope this has helped you. And make your own videos about what's helped you and how you're having an easier time. Okay.